Have you ever looked at your life and felt a quiet, nagging sense that you are never quite good enough? Or maybe you've noticed that something in your life is broken, and no matter how much effort you pour into fixing it, you remain stuck in the exact same loop. The standard response is to double down. We make promises to ourselves, we try harder, and we attempt to manually adjust our behavior, hoping that sheer discipline will finally yield a different result. Yet we predictably find ourselves right back in the same place. We repeat the same patterns, give in to the same reactions, and make the exact same mistakes we swore we wouldn't make again. The failure of our self-help efforts reveals a difficult truth. Our inability to change isn't a surface-level behavioral glitch. It points to a persistent, underlying brokenness in the human condition that we simply do not have the tools to repair on our own. I saw this play out in my own relationships for years. Whenever I felt vulnerable, I would slip into sarcasm, dropping subtle comments with an edge to maintain a sense of control and ensure I wasn't the first one to get hurt. Look at this diagram showing how that interaction works. By deploying a defense mechanism to protect myself, I was directly fracturing the connecting line of trust with the people closest to me, feeding a loop of isolation. No matter how hard I tried to bite my tongue, I repeated the pattern. I eventually reached a point where I had to admit that sheer willpower was entirely useless against a deeply ingrained reflex. This psychological struggle is ancient. In the book of Romans, the Apostle Paul describes it with brutal honesty. I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. When we finally hit the wall of our own limitations, we begin to see that we need a solution that comes from outside of our own effort. That is the exact starting point of Easter. It does not begin with people who have successfully disciplined their way to perfection. It begins with people who know they are failing. We often assume we have to fix ourselves to reach God. But the book of Romans states that God showed his love by sending Christ to step directly into our broken world and our failures, while we were still trapped in them. As theologian John Stott observed, our problem lies far beneath the specific wrong things we do. We have an internal condition we cannot cure, and the cross is God's specific, targeted answer to that condition. This forces a complete shift in how we approach faith. We have to stop viewing religion as a ladder of self-repair that we climb through good behavior and start viewing it as a divine rescue mission. This visualization shows the mechanics of what theologians call the Great Exchange. At the cross, the weight of human guilt transfers directly onto Jesus, while complete forgiveness transfers back to us. Isaiah described this centuries earlier. Jesus was pierced for our rebellion, and his wounds purchase our healing. The cross absorbs the penalty, but it is only half the equation. Jesus rose from the dead, and that resurrection provides the actual power required to break our entrenched behavioral patterns. Author Tim Keller captured this tension beautifully. He noted that we are far more broken than we ever want to admit to ourselves, yet simultaneously more loved and accepted than we ever dared to hope. 2 Corinthians outlines the ultimate outcome of this love. Anyone who belongs to Christ becomes a completely new creation. The old behavioral loops die, and an entirely new life begins. This means Easter provides a clean slate and the actual momentum to walk away from damaging cycles for good. It is the beginning of a life no longer defined by our failures. So, how does an ancient event change the stubborn habits and patterns we struggle with today? The Christian approach to transformation operates on a paradox. Lasting change does not come from gritting your teeth and trying harder. It comes from drawing closer. 2 Corinthians says that as we behold the Lord's glory, we are being transformed into his image. We draw closer by spending deliberate time in his presence, in quietness, in prayer, and in his word. As we maintain that proximity, we begin to notice a slow, quiet shift. His character starts to influence our own, gradually softening our rigid defenses and reshaping the way we interact with others. We discover that true behavioral change is a natural byproduct of a close relationship with Jesus, rather than the tiring output of human willpower. Where in your daily life are you still completely exhausting yourself, trying to manually fix your own brokenness? What would it look like for you to physically slow down, turn toward Jesus, and simply allow Him to begin that work in you. May the hope of Easter meet you where you are and lead you to new life. Let us know in the comments where you are finding new life this season. If this message resonated with you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it.